Hi everybody, and first of all, thank you very much for attending this webinar. Before I begin, I'd like just to get an OK in the chat box that everyone can hear me clearly, and my volume controls are OK. So if I can just get an OK, if you put OK in the chat box, then I'll know that the volume control is working fine. Brilliant. Excellent. Okay, brilliant. So guys, first of all, thank you very much for coming on to this webinar. Obviously, the webinar that I have today is called How to Focus for Success, especially in 2013. And from the huge numbers of you guys who have come onto this webinar, it can only mean one thing, that you guys are interested in focusing more towards your own success in 2013. Now, what I want to cover and what I want to mention before we start the webinar is this webinar that I'm doing here today live is the same webinar that I did for a group of my private clients who pay anywhere between $10,000 to $25,000 a year to work with me on a one-to-one. And the feedback and response was so amazing and fantastic that I thought, you know what, I don't really want to keep this just to my personal group. I want to try and share this with as much people as I can and have it benefit as much people as I can as possible. So again, thank you very much for being on this webinar today. And I will be taking questions. People are already asking me whether this webinar will be recorded, and yes it will, and everyone will get a link. And if you're watching the recording of this webinar, thank you very much for clicking on the link and actually watching the recording. I really thank you for being present. So what I wanted to just mention is obviously before we start is this webinar is something that I had great feedback and great response, and I just wanted to try and share it with as many people as possible because I think you really benefit from it. Also, guys, I will be taking questions. So if you want to put your questions in the chat box while the webinar is running, at the end, I'll try and answer as many of your questions, and I'll try and help you guys as much as I can. Because that's obviously what I'm here for, to try and help you guys as much as I can. Okay, so let's start off first of all, how to focus for success. Now, this webinar, guys, is not going to be a lot of theory and bullshit. Basically, I'm going to take you through exactly the things that I do personally to focus for success. The last 2.5 years have been an incredible journey for me. Most of you have followed me on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Google+. You know some of the amazing things that I've been putting out there. But it all comes down to a significant thing with me, and it's something that one of my mentors taught me quite a while back, and that was to really focus. Focus and become a master at one thing, and once you've mastered that thing, move on to the next thing. But here's the thing. Focusing is very hard and very difficult, especially when you have loads of things happening around you and there are loads of opportunities, especially when it comes to things like the shiny object syndrome. I know some people find it very hard to focus, but I want to take you through the steps and some tips that I do personally myself that I really hope will help you focus to be very successful this year. I believe that 2013 is going to be a great year for everyone, especially all of you guys on this webinar. I don't just generally believe it. I know for a fact it's the truth. But you have to focus, guys. You have to focus on what it is you're good at and leverage as much as you can around you to be successful. And leave the pack of people that we see, time in and time out, who just talk about success but don't implement success. So, I really hope you guys can join me in this journey, because it's been a phenomenal journey, and I really want to try and help you guys as much as possible. Okay, so let's get started. First of all, a bit about myself. There's some of you guys on here who have probably never been on a webinar before, and probably asking, who is this guy? Who is Sohail Khan? For those of you who know me already, you probably know what I'm about and what I do. First of all, if most of you know and heard of a guy called Jay Abraham, one of my mentors, I trained under him back in 2003, 2004 in Los Angeles. He teamed up with a guy called Mark Goldman, who's also a very good friend of mine. And Mark Goldman quoted me as a true rags to riches super success story, just like Andrew Carnegie. Jeff Mills, a very well-known internet marketer, gave me the name The Master Connector. I've achieved over $16 million using joint ventures, specifically. I'm also an international speaker. Most of you probably see me speak. I've spoken literally around the world, Middle East, Asia, Europe, America. I speak in the States a lot, and that's the place I really love speaking. And I normally charge $5,000 a keynote speech, but I do a bit of keynote speaking, and I'm also a platform speaker. I'm the only Brit guy ever to be invited to speak about JVs in the US. There's not many of us JV experts out there anymore. I mean, some of the big names, they're not as active as they used to be, and I'm renowned as one of the top joint venture experts in the world, and that focus, which I focused on over the last 2-3 years, prior to doing joint ventures over 16, 17 years, has allowed me to become one of the world's premier joint venture experts. I'm also the founder of mybrokerinbusiness.com. Most of you have probably seen this. This is like my signature program. It's a 10-20K program teaching other people how to become successful joint venture brokers and use joint ventures very successfully. I'm also, as I mentioned before, one of the top joint venture experts in the world. And I'm just recently I've become the author of Guerrilla Marketing and Joint Ventures with my good friend J. Conrad Levinson. That for me is probably one of the biggest accolades that I've attained in the last sort of 2-3 years. Having my own published book, internationally published, with basically the father of guerrilla marketing, J. Conrad Levinson, is absolutely amazing. And again, it comes down to focus. If you look at what I've just mentioned in these bullet points, you'll see the word JV pop up again and again, joint ventures. That's what I've predominantly focused on over the last sort of 3 years, joint ventures and business growth, which has allowed me to be very, very successful in this field and be very successful worldwide. And I want to take you through some of that in this webinar and show you exactly how I do it, and what I've done, and what I try and instill in other people as well, and I hope you guys can really learn from that and move forward and become as successful as I have. So here we are, just a quick one. I normally tell my story of going from rags to riches, and then actually from riches to rags, and then rags to riches. So the power of focus is very, very strong, and I'll just give you a quick overview of my story and where I've come from. I originally built a 7-figure business using joint ventures in 2006, and built that business up to just over $16 million, and sold a majority stake to a $160 million IT group, IT company here in the UK. Became very successful, became a multi-millionaire, but in 2008 I lost everything. I went from being a multi-millionaire to totally broke. So you hear the stories of people who were once very wealthy, multimillionaires, and they became broke, and then they came back up again. Well, that's my story. In 2008 I lost everything, and I lost the beautiful house I lived in, the Ferraris, the Porsches. I lost totally everything. But focusing and really focusing on where I had my strengths, and also things that I had done previously that had worked, that I could just replicate. In 2009, I set myself a challenge to make £1 million, or $1 million in 12 months, and I did a $1.5 million deal in just 30 days in 2009. Probably one of the biggest joint ventures deals that I've done to date, and that was with a company that had over 4.2 million customers. So that's my story, and focus has really been a big thing for me. My motto in life nowadays is twofold. One, I always think to myself, what could I do if I knew I could never fail? Okay, what could I do, or what would I do if I knew I could never fail? Okay, that's an interesting mindset belief that I have. That's one of my belief systems. And the other one I do a lot of, and if most of you guys know me, is to give first and ask later. So I try and give as much as I can and try and help as many people as I can without really the expecting something in return, because I've been through that journey. I've had loads of wealth around me, and fingers crossed, touch wood, I've got back to where I was previously. Not as wealthy as I once was, but I'm comfortable and I'm very happy with my life. But again, it's the power of focus. By focusing on just one element and one area specifically, I've become very, very successful. And it's been an amazing journey, and this is what I want you guys to do. I really want you guys to focus find your core, right? Find your core and develop a system, develop a strategy, and put it in place, and just focus for this year to become very successful and basically break the pack and become a leader in your own right. And once you do that, guys, once you become an authority, it's absolutely amazing. And it's interesting because I put a post up on my Facebook wall not too long, and it went something like, when you become an expert, it's an amazing thing. But when experts come to you for advice, then you become an authority, and an authority is a very, very powerful thing. If you can get to that level where you're an authority, especially around the world, it's unlimited, unlimited income, unlimited amounts of money can be earned that way. So that's my story, and let's begin the webinar. First of all, let's look at tip number 1: starting your day with a plan. Now, this is very, very important. I have always done this from day one. I've always put together a plan, and my plan is pretty much a daily plan. And I have a list of things that I do and that need to be done. But I always start my day off with a plan. Because what happens is this, it's like a lot of people, if they're not motivated in the day, or they're feeling not necessarily depressed, but they're feeling not entirely happy with the day, that's because there is no plan in place. When you don't have a plan, you're very, very much lost, and you waste a lot of time. Sitting on Facebook all day, for example. If you have a plan to sit on Facebook and monetize Facebook, then that's fine. But a lot of time is wasted, especially nowadays with social media, and that's why you must have a plan in place. And that plan is specific to yourself in terms of what you want to achieve in that day. It's very, very important. I'm going to take you through also how I use social media very, very effectively, and I'm going to show you some of the techniques that I use. And it's been phenomenal. Social media has been a godsend. I've had people sign up to my 10 and 25K programs off Facebook chat and off Facebook. So when people say Facebook is a waste of time and there's no money on Facebook, trust me, there are people on Facebook who if you put yourself out there the right way and build the right relationships on Facebook, you can be very, very successful. And I teach this to all my clients and my students as well. So tip number 1: start your day with a plan. So here's the thing: a plan will help you be not only productive but get things done as well. Now, productivity is the biggest thing. Okay, it's I've always found that I'm at the peak every day, firing on all cylinders when I have a plan in place. And most people who don't have a plan in place, this is what happens. Nothing ever gets done. I'm also going to show you guys how to prioritize tasks and how to structure tasks along the same way that I do as well. But this has been, for me, absolutely phenomenal. Having a plan and starting the day with a plan is been very, very productive for me, and I get a lot of things done. I mean, I work 2 different time zones. I work UK and US, so for me, having a plan in place is very, very important. Here's the thing: you can easily start off with a small list, okay, with at least 3 to 5 priority tasks that need to be done. Now, keep your priority tasks small. Keep them between 3 and 5. Don't have a whole list of priority tasks that you want to get done in one day, because you only have a certain amount of time in one day. And I have a system where, to be honest with you, you can only work 3 hours, in a day, and get everything done, pretty much, if you really, really are constructive with your plan. So you can start your list off very, very small, and just put 3 to 5 priority tasks that need to be done in the day. And very important, keep the list somewhere where you can see it very easily. Keep it attached to your laptop, for example, or on the wall, and have it somewhere where you can actually see it and you can visualize it and focus it, which is very, very important. Most of you who are using a plan, you got to get it more structured, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do that as well. But having a daily plan in place really, really helps. What are your you've obviously done your goals and your objectives for the year. Something that I do a lot of with my clients and my students as well is goal setting, and we do goal mapping as well. So we try and map out exactly what they want to get done, sort of like in the first quarter of the year, for example, and we have to work backwards from that. So we have to plan backwards from that. Exactly how are we going to achieve that? And let me tell you this, guys, right? And touch wood, with me personally, and this is not me boasting, nearly everything that I've put in place has worked, okay, and has worked very successfully because I put a plan in place and I work backwards from the outcome that I want, and that's how that's how most of what I do actually works. And it's quite phenomenal looking back at some of the things that I've done over the last sort of 2-3 years, and some of the things I'm planning this year as well. They just work. Why? Because a lot of planning goes into it. I have a calendar. A promotional calendar, something that I learned from a good friend of mine, Brad Fallon from Stompernet. They're a promotional calendar, but in terms of how it's structured, so you know exactly what needs to be done at every point of time to get X amount of people, for example, into a program, or X amount of people into a membership, and it works like gangbusters. Okay, here's another thing. Did you know that it's really good to have 2 to-do lists? Okay, not just one. This is something that one of my mentors taught me, and it's worked phenomenally for me. So having 2 to-do lists is really, really cool. One list can be as long as you want, and list things that pop into your head throughout the day. Okay, for example, pick up dry cleaning, or schedule this, or schedule that. This happens to me all the time, because what happens is I have one list which is a long list, okay, and it's a list of things that come into my head every day, things that I either remember or things that need to be done, okay, that need to be done and need to be sorted. Not exactly priority things, but things that need to be done, for example. So I have one long list, and I make a list of all the things. Best way I would do this is if you go into a Staples or an Office World, you can pick up a whiteboard, which they have, which has the listings of the days across it. It's basically a monthly planner, but you can use it on a day-to-day basis. It gives you a snapshot of every day, and then in the far right-hand column it says next month, but you can use that as your one list to make a list of the things that pop into your head. It's basically a monthly planner, but you can use it as on a day-to-day. It's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I use that extensively, and it's always like up on the wall, so it really, really helps. The second list is just 3 things, okay? Just 3 things that you are going to accomplish next, and this stays with you all the time. So this is very, very important, okay? So the second list is basically your priority list. These are the 3 things that you are going to do ASAP, okay? You're going to do these 3 things next. And nothing gets added to this list until those 3 things are done. So you've got your one long list, okay, of things that need to be done, but then you have a shorter list, and this is your priority list, okay? So on that list you have 3, I have between 3 and 5 things, but you can have 3 things on that list. These 3 things need to be done first, okay, until you can, and then when those 3 things are done, then you can bring things from the long list into that priority list. So basically you've got 2 lists there, okay? This is very, very important, and it's quite amazing how it actually works. It works really, really well. So, if you want to be really, really super organized, this is exactly how you do it. So this way things get done, and the things that need to be done really, really like a priority, you list those 3 things. Once you've done those 3 things, bang, then you go and then you get onto the next 3 things. And that way you'll find that you're not fumbling between lists, or you're not doing tasks that aren't important. The important tasks are the ones that are being done. Okay, so that's very, very important to have 2 to-do lists. Okay, number 3, complete shutdown. Okay, you need to shut down email, Facebook, and other distractions that take you away from tasks. Now, here's the thing, guys. I'm going to give you an insight into how I use things like Facebook and social media. If you guys have noticed how I post on Facebook, everything that I do is very, very strategic, okay? I do things on Facebook to get a response. I use direct response all the time. So most of the times I'm either getting people to like a post, for example, so I can find out more information about the people who like it, and I reach out to them on a one-to-one basis if they're interested in something that I'm maybe talking about. I also use social media to get people to register for my free DVD, for example. So, I get people to come up to Facebook, register for my free DVD. So a lot of things I do are very, very direct response, okay? But you also have to be able to walk away from these distractions. So, during the day, you must have a set time that you shut down email and you don't use Facebook at all. Trust me, it will work out really, really well for you. One of the best things to do in the morning when you wake up is don't go straight to your laptop. Have an hour in the morning that focuses on just you and focuses on your objectives and goals, and more of a spiritual thing as well in the morning before you even attempt to open Facebook or email, for example. I mean, I have got to a stage now where I just check my email, 2-3 times a day, and that's it. The most I've ever gone down to is twice in a day, one in the morning and one late in the afternoon, evening time. So that's something that you guys really need to look at in terms of, and that will really, really help you focus more, because it is a distraction and you need to take yourself away from that distraction. So basically walk away from those distractions for a few hours until you've completed that task. It happens to us all the time. You have a task that you want to complete, you jump onto Facebook, for example, or email, and bang, the hours have gone and you haven't got that task done. So another thing you can do is you can reward yourself by completing a task. You can then, once you finish that task, you can go and use Facebook, for example, or email. But it's very hard nowadays because we have things like our iPhone. So the iPhone has everything on it. It has Facebook on it. It has email. I used to always check my email on my iPhone, but nowadays I don't do that. I have a system in place, so I make sure that I check it only when I need to, and I'm not being distracted. Distractions are the biggest things that take us away from our focus. They really, really do. And one of my mentors, a guy called Kevin Nations, a great guy, good friend of mine as well. He's taught me quite a lot about focusing as well, and focusing on those things that you need to get done in a day. If one of your focuses is for 2013 is to double your income, for example, or earn more money, you can do that. Have that as a focus. Have that as a focus, and set yourself a goal and a target, even every day. To make a set amount every day, and just keep working towards that task until that task is done. Trust me, it works. After a while, when you carry on doing it, it becomes easy because it's just there, basically in your brain, and it's something that will really help you, especially keeping you away from those distractions. Okay, using a timer. This is very, very important. A lot of my mentors use this, and I've started using this myself as well. Using a timer is very, very important. You can either get a real stopwatch or a virtual timer. You can download one from Google, or I wouldn't recommend using your phone, because then if you have a timer on your phone, you'll be using your phone. So you either get a real timer that sits by your desk, for example, or you get a virtual timer, and set it for a reasonable time, like 50 minutes, and concentrate on that one task in that 50 minutes. So in that 50 minutes, basically try your best to concentrate on that one task, and that task that you're really, really focused on doing. This is very important. If you really want to be in the 1%, guys, of people who are very, very successful, this is very, very important that you do this. It's very, very important. And you have to sacrifice a bit, but at the end of the day, it gets tasks done, and it makes you focus more. Success is something that, guys, is something that has to be attained. At the end of the day, you have to put the graft in, but at the end of the day, you have to have a system in place as well. If you don't have a system in place, if you don't focus on what it is that you want to be successful in, it's going to be very, very hard. It's going to be very, very hard to do it. So using a timer is really, really good. Set it for 50 minutes, and then concentrate on that one task in that 50 minutes. I do this a lot. I did this back when I was studying, when I did my master's degree. I did the same thing. I used the same thing when I studied, the same techniques. I used a timer, and I had a set time that I would do a task in, or finish a task in, and then I would take a break. Okay, and very important to take breaks in between. Do not work headstrong all the way through, and you don't need Red Bull. You don't need Red Bull at all to keep you moving towards tasks. It's the human body and the brain is very, very powerful. if you can utilize it the right way. You don't need to take extra, sports drinks or whatever to achieve that. You'll be amazed. You'll be amazed at how amazing the human mind and the human body is. And then give yourself a 5-10 minute break and then continue. This is very important. If you can do this, this really gets tasks and activities done. Like me, for example, I run several businesses. I have people who manage some of my businesses, but then I really am the ideas person and the creative. So I come up with some amazing things to keep the business operating at the level where it is. I really love doing, I wouldn't say impossible. I love doing, I love creating things that I think are going to be bigger than they are. So I'm a big thinker at the end of the day, and I like doing those sort of things. But to do that, yeah, I have to also focus on whether it's the right, if I'm going down the right route with whatever I do, and it intertwines with my objectives and my goals for the year. So it's very, very important once again. Okay, this one's very important, finding your peak energy times. So many times I have tested this, and I've woken up in the morning, for example, at 6 or 7. I'm very, very fresh. I get on and I feel really productive, and then sometimes I don't, and I'm like, damn, how do I find that formula? Because I travel a lot as well. I travel a lot between the UK and US, and my timings get really, really messed up sometimes. But I still am trying to find that, my peak energy time, which is very, very important. So you're basically finding that period in the day when you feel more energetic and productive, and that's the time when you really want to be doing things and doing the bigger tasks. Okay, when you're at your peak energy times. So you've got to find your peak energy times. Is very, very important. And guys, it's phenomenal. I mean, I don't know how to explain it, but laser focus and operating at that level of peak performance is just amazing, and the things that you can get done is just incredible. And then basically what you do is tackle the most difficult tasks then, okay, because it's so hard when your energy levels are down. It's very, very hard to do the big tasks, okay, and tackle the big tasks. During the times when your peak energy times are high, that's the time to do the most difficult tasks, and that's what I find, and that's what I do, and it works really, 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 really well. I have loads of things I have to do. I've things I do for myself. I have clients that I work with, 6 and 7 figure clients. I also have my brokers who, I help and support at the same time on the program. And, it's very, very time intensive. I've got a couple of, I've just acquired some new businesses recently. I've made some big investments, and, it's all full steam ahead. But then I tend to try and get those big tasks done during the times when I'm very, very productive. Still, for me, it's like it changes because I travel so much. But if you can identify that, you know what, these are the times in the day that my energy levels are high, and this is the time that I feel most productive. So what do I need to get done during that period of time? Because trust me, that is a period of time where you'll be most motivated to get these big tasks done, and always go for the big tasks. So like I mentioned before, this is also known as a time of peak performance. Okay, you hear people talking about peak performance. For example, I just got an email from Brendan Burchard, probably in the last couple of hours. He's talking about his Peak Performance Academy. Now, Brendan's a great guy, and this is something that he teaches. And I'm very fortunate to be speaking on stage with Brendan in a couple of months in Chicago. And it's such an amazing guy. And the last time when I spoke to him, it was the same thing. It's finding your peak performance. This is something that he teaches to a lot of corporate companies, and it's absolutely phenomenal. That if you can achieve that, and I have a couple of friends who are coaches who actually coach this, and I didn't understand it for a couple of years until recently, that's what it's all about, your peak performance. At that time in the day when your energy levels are most high and productive, that, guys, is when you get the most difficult tasks done, and they get done. And then, previously I mentioned to you the to-do list and how to prioritize your list. That is definitely what you do at the same time. And it's absolutely awesome. Someone just mentioned about Brendan. Yeah, Brendan's a great guy. He's absolutely amazing, and so blessed to know someone like that. Okay, so that's basically finding your peak energy times, right? So I hope you guys, I hope you guys are taking notes anyway, because these are things you need to implement and put in place if you really want to be successful and focus on success. Now, here's the thing, guys. Most of you guys, and actually all of you guys on this webinar today, you're doing some amazing things, but you're not. Some of you guys aren't operating at that level where you need to be, because I've met quite a few of you guys, and there's a lot of you. I mean, there's literally a couple of hundred of you guys here that I haven't probably spoken to before, or I haven't had the opportunity to meet. But it's very, very important that you find your peak performance and you operate at that level and you get those most difficult tasks done. Okay. Okay, so leveraging, this is how you leverage low energy periods. Okay, so I'm going to take you through this. Okay, any jobs that are repetitive tasks need to be performed during low energy periods. Okay, so when your energy periods are low, any task that is sort of repetitive, that is not a hard task, that's the best time to do them. Okay, that is the ultimate best time to do them. So arrange your day to do these tasks when you don't need to consume much brain power. So if what you do doesn't require you to think too much or consume too much of your brain power, this is the time when you need to do those repetitive tasks at a time when you have low energy periods. And I get this sometimes when my energy periods are so low, so I'll do things that don't require me to move much brain power. For example, I have a lead generation DVD that gets sent out. I have a team of outsourcers who do that for me, but I can do other things that require don't require much brain power. If I have a couple of DVDs that I'd like to send out personally myself, I would do that from here. If I need to send out something that is just a repetitive task, it's very, very easy for me to do that. It'll also help you conserve brain energy, so this is very, very important. It's very, very important to understand that, especially when you're trying to leverage the low energy period. Okay, the next one is listening to instrumental music. Okay, now a lot of people you see on Facebook, you see on this post, they're like, I'm listening to this music, I'm listening to this. Here's the thing, guys, listen to instrumental music, not to music with words. Okay, music's good because it allows you to block out word noise, for example, but when you listen to music, listen to instrumental music. You might have heard of something called binaural beats, for example. These are beats that tune in and lock into your brain, for example, and help you with tasks. This is instrumental music. So instrumental music is very, very important, and try and use instrumental music rather than words, because for tasks that involve thinking, reading, and writing, always avoid music with words, okay, because you really want to do that. Find music, whether it's classical music or whether it's music to help you, because music is very, very interesting. It creates a sort of, some of us listen to music, it creates an adrenaline rush, for example, or it creates that emotional state. That's a very good thing, especially when you listen to music. It helps you peak your energy, okay, and helps with peak performance as well. So as I mentioned previously, so this is very, very important. And instrumental music will not interfere with your verbal reasoning, okay, because this is why it's important to listen to instrumental music, not to standard music with words. Just try this and see how it does, because I used to listen to music before with words, and when I started listening to instrumental music, it was actually quite phenomenal, and it was totally different the way I understood and the way I started doing tasks. Okay, taking refreshing breaks. Here's the thing, reward yourself with small breaks through the day to get back to focus. Now, as you can see, sometimes you probably see me post a picture of some of my creative ideas when I'm sitting at a coffee shop. I tend to do that on a regular basis. Now, that's the place where I go, where it's very good. It helps me focus. And you'd be surprised, because we're in an environment where there's lots of conversations going on, it really, really helps. It actually helps me to focus. So it doesn't allow me to be unfocused. It really, really helps. Eat a snack or enjoy a fresh fruit juice, for example. I tend to go to a place and sit there, and I listen to a lot of the chatter. Or example, go for a short walk. It's very, very important that you take breaks in between and in between the tasks, especially that you're doing. Because most of us, nowadays we have technology. Most of us spend a lot of time at the laptop or computer, for example, or iPad, and it's just very, very important that you take refreshing breaks, because this really helps you focus. Or even taking a break and going on on a vacation, for example. I find that I am very energized when I go away, and when I come back, that's when I'm really, really full of ideas, and it helps me implement and helps me get out of any sort of sticking points as well. And this is very important. I think this has been one of my focuses and one of the main reasons for me being very, very successful this year. Especially with taking those breaks and really, really focusing and energizing. Okay, again, here, like I said before, working at another location. This is quite important as well. For part of the day, work outside your office in a coffee shop or library. And it's very, very, as you can see the picture there, this is the picture that I normally put up. I normally put up a picture on Facebook showing people what I'm doing, get everybody involved, and it's very, very important that you actually work at another location. If you get the opportunity to go out, into a different environment, definitely do it, because it really, really helps you focus, and it really, really helps you to lock down exactly what you're, what you're focused on doing for the year. And I've done this a lot. I always have ideas in my notepad that I put down, but only until I've gone away to another location and I've actually gone through my notes and I've sat down and I've actually concentrated, it allows me to really, really focus on what I'm currently doing and how it's working. This is really good because it increases your productivity and also inspires creativity. To be very successful, I think you also need to be inspired at the same time. But as long as you're being productive as well, as long as you're implementing your ideas and those creative ideas that are coming to you. So this is another important thing that I think it would really help you focus on implementing anything that you want to put your mind to, especially in 2013. And I mentioned before about white noise chatter. This is that what you hear in a coffee shop is actually less distracting, and it really, really helps. And I do this a lot, when I'm abroad, especially. You guys have got a couple of questions coming through. Please have your questions come through, and I'll answer those questions at the end of the webinar, and I'll let you guys know exactly what I do and how I tend to focus. And what sort of techniques that I use as well. So, working at another location is important. If you can do that and get out, it really, really helps. Another thing also, guys, that you need to be doing is get yourself an accountability partner, okay? I have several accountability partners, and it really, really helps me focus. I'm also part of a mastermind. I'm part of two masterminds, two high-level masterminds, and I have accountability partners in them. And I encourage my students on my program as well to be accountability partners for each other, and it really, really helps, and it really, really works. Find a partner that would also like to improve his or her focus. So it's very, very important, guys. If you have someone else who likes to wants to focus and really be successful, get yourself an accountability partner. It really, really helps get things done. And for example, one of my students on my broken program, Michelle Holmes, for example, she put out a challenge to I think it was a 30-day video challenge, and that way she built accountability partners, because she did the challenge herself, and she had other people join in, and everyone was accountable to each other, and it was really, really cool, because everyone had to post up a video every day, for 30 days, and that's accountability. Again, that really, really helps. So those sort of challenges are really good, doing like a 30-day challenge, and especially if you're in a group. I'm part of several private groups on Facebook, and we all have like a 30-day. We all do like a 30-day challenge, and a 30-day accountability challenge, and it really, really helps. I remember some of the very well-known gurus who are also good friends of mine. They did this many years ago. They had these 30-day challenges that they had, and it's a really good thing for accountability as well. So at the start of the week, share your list. So when I spoke about your to-do lists and your priority lists, this is something that you need to be sharing with the group or with an accountability partner, for example. Start the week and share the list, that things that you want to get done in that week, for example, or on a day-by-day basis, and it really helps to be accountable to someone, and vice versa. And then at the end of the week, check what's been accomplished. This is a technique that I always use with my clients, especially in our masterminds. We do the same thing, but with my clients, I use this a lot. You know, we start the week off, and they let me know what they're going to get done during the week, and we share the list. And at the end of the week, we do a catch up, a follow up, and see what's been accomplished. And also, you know, accountability partners can also ask the question why. You know, why wasn't that task done, or why wasn't that done when it was supposed to be done? And then, you know, from that you get feedback, and you can find out exactly why it wasn't done, and how you can basically how you can basically attack that, and how you can make sure that something like that doesn't happen again. So that's very, very important. Okay, so let's look at now leveraging the end of the day. This is very, very important. You know, we have the start of the day, we have the tasks that we do during the day, we have how we want to be focused, how we want to keep ourselves away from distraction, okay, which is very, very important, how we avoid distraction, how we take breaks, which we've also looked at. This is the final thing. At the end of the day, how can you still leverage the end of the day? You know, the end of the day has now come. How can you leverage that, and how do I leverage it? So here's what I do, okay? At the end of each day, I clear my desk, okay? At the end of the day, I make sure my desk is clear, because in the morning when I come to my desk, it's clean. It's there's nothing there at all. You know, I've had points where I used to have a very messy desk, and, you know, I used to call it, what did I used to say? I used to say something really funny when people used to ask me, why is your desk so, so messy? And I used to say to them, though, you know, it's that clutter genius, basically, that, you know, things are over the place, but it's how a genius's desk looks like. But, you know, not really, because when you come in the morning, you just can't find things, or things are all over the place, and it's very, very hard to prioritize. So you make sure that you clear your desk at the end of each day, and that way what happens is you have closure. At the end of the day, you have closure that things are done, and then the next day you start a new day with a nice clean desk. Okay, very, very important. So again, like I said, you start fresh with a non-clutter environment, and it's very, very important to get in there, and then, you know, get focused on the task at hand. And, you know, I have conversations with quite a few of you on this webinar. I can see a lot of you on this webinar, and some of you, I can see your names, and I know, and we do have conversations now and again. And it's the same thing, you know, I have conversations with people about things that we're doing and things that get done, but, you know, so there's some tasks or some ideas, for example, that need to be implemented, but they don't get done because, you know, of the prioritizing and the focusing on that just one idea or that one area of focus, which, you know, is very, very important. Also, this is a good time to prepare your list for the following day. At the end of each day, I sit down and I prepare a list for the next day. So I know exactly what needs to be done and exactly what's being done. And this is very, very important for me. You know, I need to stay on top of my game, and I need to make sure that also that I don't let people down. You know, I don't really like letting people down. If I have something booked in a diary, for example, or if I have a task that's prioritized, and you know, it's I don't like letting people down, so I make sure the night before I have my task list for the next day. And it's really cool because nowadays the way my days are structured, it allows me ample free time to do other things. So I have free time built into my day, okay, which allows me to do things like surf the internet, or look at my favorite sites, or, you know, I'm a big lover of sports cars, for example. I've had some amazing sports cars, and I always like looking at the latest sports cars, for example, or looking around to see if there's any really good deals for sports cars. And same with other things that I'm really, really into. So it gives me time during the day to do that, and I do that you know, because it's worked out in my plan. Okay, in my day it's planned that I can do that. So for me, it's like when I do something like that, I'm not wasting time, or I'm not being you know, unproductive. It's part of my schedule for the day. So again, you know, this is very, very important, and, you know, this is something that you guys need to also implement at the same time. Trust me, guys. You know, if you implement some of these things and you start using things like the to-do list, for example, you'll see a big difference. And, you know, I really want you guys to message me on Facebook, and you know, let me know how this is going for you, and if it's working for you. You know, I'd be very happy to hear that. So let's have a look at what we've covered today in this webinar. See, the whole point of this webinar really was to give you an insight into some of the things that I do and how I focus, and how you can apply that to focus for success in 2013. So we covered starting your day with a plan, which is again is very, very important. Creating 2 to-do lists, okay, not just one, have 2. One is your main core list of things that pop into your head or things that you just list, and then you have your 3 task list that you do. Once the 3 tasks are done, then you put in some new 3 tasks, and don't put any more tasks onto that second list until those 3 tasks are done. Shutting down distractions, walking away from things like email and Facebook, working in an environment where you're not being disturbed, not being distracted at all, which is very, very important. Using a timer, this is really, really good. And trust me, when you start applying this, it will really, really help, and you'll get things done really, really quickly, and you find yourself with a lot of free time during the day to do other things that you want to do, because you know what? Your tasks are all done. Finding your peak energy times, again, this is very important. If you can do that, then you can master anything. You can master all those big tasks, heavy tasks that you want to you procrastinate about because you don't want to do them right now, and you always put them off and put them off. Trust me, I do that as well, but doing it this way, it really, really works. Then leveraging your low energy periods, the low energy periods that you have, how you use those low energy periods to still do something, to get something out of it. Again, listen to instrumental music. Try this, just try it, and let me know how you get on. It's worked really, really well for me and a couple of my clients and students, and I'd love to hear your feedback on that. Taking breaks, again, very, very important. And also accountability partners. Get yourself some accountability partners. You don't have to be part of a 25K, 35, 40K mastermind to get accountability partners. You can easily get anyone off your Facebook friends list or people that are in a group with you, and or even go out and create your own group, guys. Create your own accountability Facebook group and have people in there who are accountable to each other. It's very, very important, and we do a lot of that in some of my own private groups. So that's what we've covered today, and obviously leveraging the end of the day as well. I want to just talk to you guys about what I believe is the ultimate focus solution, and something that I really believe will help you. And I just want to discuss with you my Focus for Success program. Now, I don't do many programs during the year. Most of my programs are all high-ticket programs, but I want to try and do something and get involved and sort of help as many people as I can to walk away and create a plan of focus, okay, that will help you guys be very, very successful in 2013. Now, I'm not talking about becoming a millionaire, or I've been doing this, guys, for 17, 18 years, so it's unless you're very, very lucky in the right time, right place, you won't become a millionaire overnight. But saying that, I want you to be successful in what you do and be very, very focused in what you do at the same time. And if I can help you, I would love to do that. So I put together something called my Focus for Success program. It's basically 5 weeks of focused coaching webinars. Like I said, most of my coaching that I do is very high-level coaching, but this is something that I want to get involved in and do this to create a plan for you to move forward and be more focused. Week 1 we'll be focusing on your strategy, and that will cover predominantly things like the 3-hour work schedule I discussed, choosing 3 business assets that I want you to concentrate on in your business, and how to apply it, and how to implement it. Week 2 we're focusing on your schedule, and that will be things like balancing activities, prioritizing tasks, and looking at sort of how dividing schedule blocks in your business to be able to do that. Week 3 we'll be focusing on your system. This one we'll be gathering more information to create a checklist system that you can implement in your own business. Okay, and that'll be your own personal system. Week 4 we'll focus on your solution, and this will be to overcome barriers to your success and help you stay more motivated and deal with distractions. And we'll cover things like goal setting and goal mapping in week 4 as well. Week 5 we'll have a group brainstorm session. I'll get all of you onto a accountability session, which will be a group brainstorm. And also, guys, on a week-by-week basis, you'll get assignments from me personally, and you'll be sending that back to me on a week-by-week basis to keep you in check as well, to make sure that you get everything that you can out of the program and walk away with a plan of focus at the end. So here's what you get. You get 4 weekly live webinar classes. On the 5th week, we have a live group brainstorm session, which is an accountability session. You get weekly assignments and handouts from myself. You get a copy of all the webinar recordings. You also get a strategy goal session before the program and after the program, okay? Before the program, because I want to know where you guys are, what you want to achieve, and at the end to make sure that have you achieved that, and how now can we achieve what you've learned over the four weeks. So basically a complete success plan of action for 2013, which is what I want you guys, and I want to create for you, personally. The program begins on the 16th of January 2013, so write that down on a piece of paper or somewhere, that it begins on the 16th of January 2013 with the first live webinar class. How much for this program? Okay, so here's the thing, guys, okay? Clients normally pay me, and I'm going to use the lowest amount. I could use 25K, but then that would be ridiculous. Clients normally pay me, as you know, $10,000 for a 3-day program, okay? To train me for 3 days, people pay $10,000, okay? So if you work that out, that's $3,333 a day. Or if I was going to do a 4-week program, that would be $100,000 for a month. That's pretty phenomenal. When I looked at it, I thought, wow, if I charged per day for 4 weeks, I would be charging $100,000, which I know I personally, to be honest with you, most people wouldn't pay that. Probably 100K. I came very close to closing a 100K client for a 12-month mentoring coaching program, but for me it was I couldn't go ahead with it because he wanted me to just work with him solely on a one-to-one basis and pay me 100K. So I decided not to do that, because then it's not fair on other people who want to work with me, or people who I want to work with. So here's the thing. I want to help kickstart your 2013, right? I want you guys to be very successful this year, because I want to try and help as many people as I can, but I don't want to get you guys to come into a coaching program and pay 10, 15, 20, 25K, 30K, because then I can't help many people. I can help a certain amount of people, but I want to try and do something for you guys and help you and kickstart your 2013. At least walk away with a plan, something that you can implement, something that you can learn how to structure, and be focused for, the year ahead. Okay, so here's the thing. This is what I've put together, and I tried to my best to put together the right pricing, and compared to what I normally charge, I didn't know really how to do this, but I'm throwing this out there anyway to you guys. So if you guys are interested and you want to go for this program and work with me and a whole group of people, it'll be really fun, guys. I'll make sure that it'll be as fun as possible and you get as much out of it as you can. If you want to go for it today, you pay just $497. Okay, that's the cost of the 5-week program. However, here's the thing. I want to reward all you guys who take action very quickly, and it's pretty phenomenal. None of you have dropped off the webinar yet, so you're obviously waiting for an offer to come. So here's what I'm going to do. Okay, for the first 25 people today who pay just $297, which is to work with me for 4 weeks, 5 weeks, it's peanuts. Okay, it's absolute peanuts, and I'm not going to repeat this again, because I have bigger programs scheduled for this year that are going to earn me 7 figures. But here's the thing. This is not all about the money. This is about getting as many of you as possible and trying to helping you as possible to get you kickstarted for 2013. So for the first 25 people who come onto the program, you're only going to pay $297. Okay, and after I've taken on 25 people at $297, the price is going to go back up to $497. So if you buy today, or if you enroll today, you get this program at $297. Now don't blame me if you go onto the website later or even tomorrow and you see it's gone back up to $497. That means that we've got the 25 people and the price goes back up. Okay, so this is a minimal investment, guys. I don't know anyone who would charge this or be crazy enough to charge this for a 5-week program, but I'm doing it because I enjoy it. It's really fun. And plus, the whole point is I'm going to record the classes, and from that I'll probably create a program from it. I don't think I'll sell the program, but I'll probably use it in my private vault for my clients or for my students as a bonus. So it works out well for me. So if any of you guys are interested in this right now, I want you to go to that URL, which is www.sohail-khan.com /webinar. Actually, it's webinar offer. So give me a second. I need to change that a bit, because we changed that for you guys. I've changed it. So there we go. Oh, the power of technology. Hey, isn't it amazing? Okay, so yeah, for the first 25 people only, you pay $297. And I need you to go to that URL right now. So it's sohail-khan.com/webinar offer. Okay, so that is the URL where the special page will be for the $297. And like I say, you guys definitely want to get onto this today. And oh, let me get a swig of water there. And come onto this 5-week program and sign up today. So if you guys have got any more questions for me, if you want to put some questions there, any sort of questions you want to ask me in terms of how I can help you guys be more focused, be more motivated, and be more successful, if you'd like to put some questions in there for me, and like I say, I will I'll be here to answer those questions for you, and I'll try and answer them as much as I can, and even give you an insight into what works for me, and what I've been doing. So let's have a look at some questions here. Okay, brilliant presentation. Oh, thank you for that. Hi, Sohail. Always love your webinars. Great stuff. Excellent. Okay, guys. If you someone just mentioned there, if me and my partner sign up to this program, do we have to pay individually? No, you don't. If there's two of you that want to come onto the program, one of you can sign up to the program, and your partner, as long as it's your partner, will get access to to the program as well. So you both don't have to pay for it, especially if you're living in the same household. So that's fine. If you want to go ahead and sign up, both of you, because obviously your husband and wife can actually get on the program together. So that's fine. So Patrick's asked, Sohail, do you use any particular type of notepad or diary planner system? Something that I've been using recently is Evernote, at evernote.com. I use that quite a lot for diarizing, and it's a really, really cool system. I still have my normal paper and pen notepad that I use, but Evernote, have a look at it at evernote.com. That's something that's definitely worth looking at. So cool. Someone's asking here that one of the problems that I have, Sohail, is I find it hard to get motivated. Now here's the thing with motivation, guys, right? It's all about having a plan in place. If you don't have a plan in place, what happens is you seem to get lost, and because things don't get done, for example, because there's no plan in place, it makes you less motivated. And I found that happen to me many times, especially on the motivation side. If I feel really motivated to get a task done, it's only because it's down on paper, for example, okay, and I know it's something that I need to get done. Then I put it into the right place where my energy levels are high, and that's when I get something like that done. So it's very, very important. Use those, definitely use those techniques. So let's see if we've got any more questions here. Okay, so that's someone says here that I have a bit of a problem with shiny object syndrome. When I work on one thing, I see another thing that really excites me, and I lose motivation for the thing I'm currently doing, and I jump onto another thing. This is a hard thing, for someone like that. You really need to have an accountability partner or even a mentor. Mentors really, really help because they keep you focused on being very successful in a particular area. Accountability partners are the same thing. If you have an accountability partner, that accountability partner will really, really help you. And again, like the program that I have, the 5-week program, at the URL you can see there, sohail-khan.com/webinar offer, will solve that, because the people who sign up to this will all become accountability partners for each other. So it'd be really, really cool. And if we get the right, if I do get more than 25, 30, 40 people signed up, I'll even set up a private group so we can all be in a private group to be accountable for each other. Depending on the numbers, we can obviously do that. So yes, accountability partner is something that you need, or even a mentor. Find yourself a really, really good mentor. someone who's specialized in your industry, for example, someone who's done something that you want to achieve. Okay, mentors are very important, but make sure they've achieved something that you want to achieve. That's sometimes the best mentor to find, rather than someone who will just help you be accountable. So that's very, very important. Okay, let's look at the next question here. Simon's asked here. Simon's asked, Sohail, I see you doing so many programs and projects. How do you keep focused on the different projects and programs that you do? Okay, Simon, here's the thing. Okay, most of the projects and most of the programs that I do are all centered around one core. Anything to do with business growth or joint ventures. Okay, so anything that I create, for example, program-wise, or anything that I create is always centered around either business growth or joint ventures, which is what is really my core area, and it's what I really want to become successful for. So one thing I'd be really interested in, guys, since quite a lot of you are still on the webinar, can you please put in the chat box exactly what you do? I want to know what your specialist area is. So if all of you guys, while you're still here, and there's quite a lot of you here, if you can put into the chat box, I'd really like to see what you would say is your core specialist area. If I said to you, tell me in 3 words what you do, what would you type? So I'd love to see you guys, if you can do that right now. Just type into the chat box in 3 words exactly what it is you specialize in. I'd be very, very interested to see that. And again, see, that's what I did. With one of my mentors, for example, he asked me the same question. He said that, could you write basically in 3 words what you specialize in, and that again is very, very important if you can do that. Okay, we've got quite a few here. So we've got James here, construction software sales. Veron, success and leadership coach and trainer. See, success and leadership coach training is really, really good. I have a current client right now, actually a company that I'm doing some joint ventures for, who are in the leadership field, and I'm doing a lot of research now using LinkedIn. So if you really want to become successful, reach out to those people in your industry and try and do some collaborations. For example, try and focus on getting more joint ventures. Same with the construction software sales. What you'll need for that possibly is resellers. Okay, something that I've also dealt with. I do that a lot with clients as well. I set up licensing and reseller platforms for them. So if you're selling construction software sales, for example, I think that's James. You need to focus. And your one focus thing is finding more resellers, and that's your task. Your task every day will be to go out and find X amount of resellers or prospects who can be resellers, for example. Okay, same with you. I don't know if I can pronounce Veronique. I think it is. Success and leadership coaching. How do you get your business? How do you go out there and prospect for business? Your task or your focus will be, what are your core business assets? What do you have currently right now that can be leveraged? Okay. Joseph said here, I specialize in peer accountability. That's quite interesting, because that's something that we've actually spoken about. Again, who could you go out there and collaborate with, for example, and what would be the tasks that you need to do during the day that are the monetization tasks, okay, which are very, very important. Sam's mentioned sales, project management, leadership coaching, training, creative. Now, again, see, you've got a couple of different things there: sales, project management, leadership coaching, training. You have to differentiate yourself, Sam. You have to really become a specialist in one specific area. So you need to really, really choose that area. Sales training is really good. There's a couple of people that are very successful you're based in California, I believe, in San Diego, I think. And there's a guy called Grant Cardone, I think his name is. He's done really well on the sales training side. Written a few books, become an authority, and again, he's focusing on your tasks. Your task really is to become very well known at what you do, increase your income, increase your fee. So you've got to prioritize your tasks for that. Anne's mentioned hypnotherapy, but now focusing on property, which is fine. Again, if you're focusing on property, just focus on that one thing. Get yourself into the right group of people. Prioritize your tasks. If it's going out looking at refurbs or looking at properties, for example, make sure you're completing that on a day-by-day basis. I think that's Patrick or Patricia. So precious metals broker, which is cool. Again, go into the right areas that you need to, into the right forums, for example, or team up with other brokers who don't specialize in precious metals but can actually feed you clients. So Sam's mentioned again, I've many things on my plate which cause me to lose focus. So yes, Sam, focus to the ones that are closest to your expertise. Passion is a strange thing, okay? Passion is one of those things that people always say, profit from your passion. It's very difficult to profit from your passion. What you need to do first of all is focus on the profitable aspect first. Focus on the areas that will bring in the income that will allow you to concentrate on your passion, okay? And that's very, very important. Alan, who I think I'm having a conversation with him tomorrow, is like me. He's a JV expert. He operates on a similar level that I do. He deals with a lot of companies, and he's really good at things like licensing, but control or distribution assets. But again, becoming well known in your marketplace. Again, with me, reason why I've been so successful as a joint venture expert is that I've focused on offline JVs. Okay, none of this online joint ventures like ClipBank and a webinar, promoting webinars. I specifically work with big organizations, helping them specifically in one area now. Okay, and that's developing reseller and licensing platforms. That's all I do. Right? Simple. That's all I do. That's why I can charge $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 up front. Recently, I had a client pay me $35,000 up front. It's a retainer, 15% with 15% of gross sales. Why? Because I focus. That's what I focus on. So the more and more you focus, the more and more better you get that. Okay, cool. Actually, it's interesting. One of my brokers has actually said he wants to be in touch with the specials. Patrick. Okay, Patrick, if you can send me your email details across, if possible, that would be great. You should have my email. It's thejvbroker@gmail.com. So if you send me an email, Patrick, I've got one of my students who's actually interested in working with you, and if not, I will get those details. I'll get those details somehow. I think I'll have them as a registration. Okay, guys, look, guys, thank you very much for still staying on the webinar and answering that question. I hope that was able to help you guys focus more. And like I say, guys, $297 is peanuts to be able to come onto a program that will really help you focus. A coach will charge you $1,000 minimum. I mean, I don't even do that anymore. I mean, for a day, what do I charge? I don't know. I mean, a couple of $1,000, but it's a program like this will really, really help you, and you'll be with other people in the group at the same time as well. My good friend Ronald Evans has come in and said he's a trainer and a coach to teach companies to get US government contracts without bidding. So again, it's very specialist and very, very focused. So guys, thank you very much for attending the webinar today. Please, give me your feedback on Facebook, Google, LinkedIn, wherever you find me. Let me know what you thought of the webinar. And if this is something that you guys are definitely interested in, I'd love to have you guys on the program. It'll be a 5-week program, and it'll really, really help you guys get kickstarted and find your focus. Find your focus for 2013 to be very successful. So guys, thank you very much for staying on the webinar to the end. I always appreciate that. And I wish you every success moving forward in 2013. And I'd love to hear your success, on Facebook and see what you guys are up to. And like I say, if I can help you, definitely come into the program and take a look, and we'll be able to get you focused. Thanks, Patrick. Thank you for your email there. I'll send that out. I'll send that out to one of my brokers right now. Thank you, guys. Take care. Have a lovely evening, afternoon, morning, wherever you are. And I hope to speak to many of you guys soon if you've enrolled on the program. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.